Today in Review This Thing, we're going to review this thing, the Apache 9800 case from Harbor Freight. This is Adrienne with Review This Thing. And if you're looking for a new gun case to keep your guns safe while you're transporting them, but you're not looking to break the bank, then you're going to want to watch this review all the way to the end to see if the Apache 9800 is worth it or if it's a dud. A few weeks ago, we first showed you our Apache 9800 case when we did a review of the Core Cases insert that we posted a few weeks ago. Well, we thought you might find a review of this case helpful as well. If we don't answer all your questions, please ask in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them. Also, if you like what we do, give us that thumbs up. We really appreciate it. We've had this case for a couple years now and we have used it quite a bit lately, so we're ready to tell you what we think. Let's review this thing. As always, we're going to cover the facts. The first part is fit. The main question we're going to ask about the Apache 9800 is not where will it fit, but what will fit in it. The interior dimensions are 50 3/8 inches long by 13 5/8 inches wide and 5 1/8 inches deep. So one long gun and some accessories can absolutely fit. We've also used it to carry 2 long guns. Here it is with 2 shotguns in it, and here it is with 2 rifles in it. I will also tell you that the case weighs about 22.5 pounds, so it is definitely not lightweight, but I did a little bit of research and it seems that comparable cases weigh around there, some a little more, some a little less. When we bought this case, we were looking for one that would carry at least 1 and quite often 2 rifles, which this case easily does. But I do wish it was lighter. When we put both of our shotguns in there, which did not have scopes on them, it still weighed over 50 pounds. So it can be a little heavier than I would like to carry. So because of that, we're gonna give fit a 4.7 out of 5. Now is the Apache 9800 case from Harbor Freight as advertised. The first thing they advertise is that it takes a beating while protecting the contents. The Apache 9800 is made from reinforced polypropylene, so you can see and hear that it's a pretty strong plastic. As I mentioned, we've been using it for a couple years and it's done really well, so we decided to put it through the same torture test that we put the SKB case through that we reviewed last year. So we went up to the front porch, which is about 14 feet high, and put 2 dozen eggs in here in the container. The first time Robbie threw it off, he tried to throw it off pretty flat, and it held up fairly decently. 3 of the latches did come loose, 1 of them stayed closed, and this one piece popped off, but we were able to just slide that back in. Otherwise, it did pretty well, and inside there was only 1 egg that was slightly cracked, but not completely busted. Next, we upped the ante a little bit, and Robbie dropped it onto the end. This time it did not fare quite as well. Now there's a pretty decent crack, so the case is pretty much busted on that end. Also on the 2 corners, that seal that's supposed to help with water tightness has chipped off on both ends. And as far as the contents, there were 2 eggs inside that were completely busted. Now that is a bit of an extreme test. Most of us aren't going to be in those situations, but I would probably not recommend flying with this case because you never know what's going to happen to it. And if you're in situations for some reason where you find yourself at high elevations where you might drop it, you probably want to look somewhere else too. The other thing they advertise is that it is watertight. So of course we had to test that as well. Filled up my bathtub, submerged it on all the ends, and I will say it felt fairly buoyant. I had to actually shove it under the water for a few seconds to get it to stay. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say that it is not watertight. You can see here that the paper towels are pretty much soaked on the ends, especially the end that I had submerged, and the foam is pretty wet as well. Now we have had this for a couple years, but it's clearly not watertight. And because we have seen other cases survive that drop test, as far as its impact resistance, we're gonna give it a mid-level rating at best. So because of that, we're gonna give, as advertised, a 2.9 out of 5. Now onto construction and durability. We've already talked about the polypropylene and how that holds up, so we're gonna move on to some other features. The case does have 4 latches that are pretty wide and seem to be pretty strong, and they're pretty easy to open and close on purpose. On the latches, there are also a couple of pre-drilled grommeted holes so you can put your locks there. The Apache 9800 does have a good-sized suitcase handle at the top so you can just carry it by your side. It also has handles on each end for a 2-person carry, and it has 2 wheels on one end so that handle can also serve to help you roll the case around. And finally, it has a built-in pressure purge valve, so if you are on a plane, you can release some of that air, which then will make it easier to open the case. Now let's talk about the interior. So this Apache 9800 comes with a egg crate foam at the top, and then it has pick-apart foam in the bottom. Initially, we loved the idea of that pick-apart foam. We had just gotten a couple of brand new Bergara Ridges and we were super stoked. So we picked the foam and got it to fit absolutely perfectly. Until I started shooting that CVA Cascade that you've seen me shoot a ton, and it no longer fit into the perfect outline of that ridge. If you're going to use it for more than one gun, or if you change guns or change optics, then it really becomes not useful anymore. Which is where that core case insert became a big game changer for us. We just took that other foam piece out and put that insert in, and we've been able to use it a lot since then. So I am going to take some points off due to that foam. I'm also going to take some points off because once you pick some out, it kind of gets a mind of its own. We've had random pieces fall out. Also, it can become unstuck to the bottom layer, and that foam can become a little bit wobbly. We did try to use some spray adhesive to glue some pieces back in, but that doesn't work. Now, I will say we never tried the case on its own before pulling any of that foam out. If you left that foam in and liked it, comment below and let us know what you think. Now, as far as durability, we've had it a couple years, and like I said, the past couple months we've used it a ton, and it's held up really well for us until we threw it off the porch. So for normal use, I'd say it holds up really well. Now, they do come with a 90-day warranty, but hopefully you don't also throw yours off a porch after 90 days. Now, as far as score, I'm not going to take points off for the failures of our drop test. I am going to take points off because of that foam. Because of that, I'm going to give construction durability a 3.8 out of 5. Before we move on to the next section, do yourself a huge favor and check out our website, reviewthisthingtv.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom and subscribe to our newsletter so you won't miss any of our great content. We have bonus articles, more reviews, and you'll be the first to know about some of the great deals that are out there. Now on to testimonials and reviews. On Harbor Freight's website, there are over 2,700 reviews, and only 37 of them had less than a 4 out of 5 score. But, you know I'm going to tell you the complaints that people had. The absolute #1 complaint I saw multiple times was the pick apart foam. It was kind of annoying to do, the pieces fell out, and of course they could only use it for one gun. A few other people complained that it was too heavy. We already talked about that. I do think it is a bit too heavy. Somebody else complained that it wasn't long enough for a shotgun. We grabbed Robbie's Stoeger M3500, and you can see it's like end to end, but it does fit and you can close the case. If there is a shotgun that's longer than that, it's not gonna fit unless you take it apart. And then one person said that theirs was not watertight and that they actually got some rust on the grommets and had mold inside the case. I would say if it's, you get some rain on it or something, it's gonna be fine. But if you find yourself in a situation where your case is submerged, then you're pretty much out of luck. We gave you the score we found, so for testimonials and reviews, the Apache 9800 gets a 4.8 out of 5. Now finally, should you buy this thing? As always, it really depends on what you want it for, and how much money you want to spend. The biggest draw to the Apache 9800 is the cost. The retail on this is $170, but if you just wait till it's on sale, as of the filming of this video, it was on a coupon sale for $130. And I'm pretty sure the 20% off one item coupon also works on this, which would get you down to $136. For that price, you could go online and order a more generic piece of foam for $50 to $100 I found and replace the one here. So you're still looking at about $240. Now, comparable cases that I found range anywhere from $220 up to $400+. And most of those have that more dense cut apart foam, but you're still getting into that one and done functionality with that too. If you're looking for something you want to fly with, I would definitely spend a little bit of extra money and get something different. That SKB case that we reviewed is awesome and held up to every test we put it through. But since we've got that insert and just for our throw it in the truck and go to the range uses, this case is great and does exactly what we need it to. But as it comes from the store, not so much. So because of that, we're going to give Should I Buy This Thing a 3.7 out of 5. Hey, thanks for watching our Apache 9800 case review. While you're here, watch a whole bunch of other videos. Go to reviewthisthingtv.com, subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss any of our content. Give us a thumbs up, share our video, comment, tell us what you think, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.